Welcome back to the garage. My name is Steve. Today we're focusing our attention back on the 1970 Triumph Spitfire. In the last video on the Spitfire, we went ahead and took the engine and transmission out. And today what we're going to do is focus on getting the frame up onto some sawhorses so we can start dismantling it. So stick around, it'll be a good video. Alright, so the cherry picker makes another appearance. Here's what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I've used a floor jack to just kind of raise the rear of the frame a little bit. And now I'm going to use a cherry picker to lift it up the rest of the way. Someone with more muscle and a good back could probably go ahead and just lift this thing right up, but I'm in the mood to work smarter and not harder. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get the cherry picker positioned so I can lift it up the extra, 2 feet. I need to be able to put the sawhorse underneath it. And then we're going to do that. So here we go. Alright, there we have it. The frame is now up and on the sawhorses, and everything is pretty much at like waist level for me, which is fantastic. So this should definitely help my back in trying to get it worked on while I go ahead and start disassembling everything. So, as I was doing this, really didn't find too many surprises. The one surprise I did find, though, is that it seems that this leg might appear to be just ever so slightly shorter because it doesn't seem that there's a whole lot of weight that rests on it. Although, of course, I said that and now it's a little bit better. But outside of that, the weight seems pretty evenly distributed, which is great. So, at this point, it is now time to go ahead and get a drink and then start stripping this thing down. is the front of the car stripped. Also got, as you saw earlier, all the brake lines removed. And so next we'll be on to the rear. Once I have the rear done, then we'll be really cooking with gas. I'm undecided as to whether or not I want to remove these shock towers or not. And you know these obviously have bolts that hold them all in, and I don't see any shims anywhere. I did take count of the shims that came off of the front here though. I think that's going to be it though. I'm pretty sure these just bolt right on. I'll have to do some more research first, but if it is just a matter of unbolting them, maybe I will just go ahead and do it. Because again, I want to have as much access as possible to be able to go ahead and paint all of this stuff and get it nice and clean as well. But it is about 9 o'clock at night. In fact, it is 9. I've been going hard all day. I think that we're going to call it quits for the day, and we're going to pick up in the morning. Catch you in a few hours. Hey, good morning. Welcome back. It is now Friday morning. It is St. Patrick's Day, and we're going to pick back up on the Spitfire. I'm looking at the front of the frame here, and I think I'm going to go ahead and try to break loose the bolts that hold the shock towers in. There appears to be only 5 bolts that hold the shock towers into place. And so I was going to use a breaker bar and see if I can get them loose. And then if I can get them loose, I'll get them removed. And then from there, depending upon time, we'll go ahead and work on the rear. Alright, so this came from the inside of the frame up in here. So I'm guessing there's also going to be one in here. That's going to act as the capture. Now, I don't see any of their nuts or bolts, so there it is. It's one shock tower. Look at that. That was easy. Alright, so now that the front is all done, what I'm going to try to do is see if I can get these hubs removed. I've got a hub puller. But the first thing that you really got to do is go ahead and bust off this nut. It appears to be a 15/16, so I got my breaker bar, and I'm just going to get that on there, and then probably just apply some force like this. That's not coming loose. All right. And one of the big problems is I don't want to pull the frame up, so there's not much weight on it over on that side. So I may have to get a second set of hands to help with this. Or, let's see. May have to bust out the old impact to take that off.
5 minutes later.
That worked. Alright, so we need to put that back on with a couple of threads. Let me get the hub puller, and we'll be right back. Sorry that ended a little bit abruptly. I got the rear hub removed with the help of the hub puller tool from my friend Noah down in Key West. So thank you very much, Noah, for the hub puller and the advice. We'll be getting that shipped back to you quickly. In case you didn't know, that hub puller is about 125, 150 bucks or so they're not cheap. So Noah came to my call of action when I asked for needing one. He was more than happy to lend it to me, so thank you. I think that what my next steps will be is to go ahead and disassemble the suspension. I'm going to go ahead and probably get rid of the vertical link, also get rid of the shock, but I think first, actually what I'll do is score the hubs here, or I guess they're not hubs, but score these flanges so I can kind of mark where they were connected, so when I put it back together, they'll be pointing the same direction. And once I get that done, and I'll get them disconnected, then I'll work on removing the vertical link. So that's kind of where I'm thinking I'm going to start. And then that will afterwards leave just the spring and the diff. The diff is held in with a bolt that's right here, and then 2 bolts up in the front here. I'm going to have to find some way to support it while I'm unbolting everything. I got a couple ideas, including my shop chair over there and a couple of pieces of wood, maybe a floor jack or something, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So for the time being, let's go ahead and get these scored, see if we can break these nuts loose, and go from there. So I think I'm going to start by removing the shock. So I'm gonna start with this. I already broke some of these bolts loose, so it's through the magic of YouTube. I'll get this top one off here. So here's what we're down to. We have the rear spring attaching to the vertical link, and so what I think I'm going to do is remove this bolt here to remove it from the vertical link, and then fingers crossed, I'm just going to go ahead and take the entire vertical link, including the axle and everything off. I've heard that removing the trunnion can be an absolute bear, and so what I'm going to try to do is take this off as a whole assembly, and that way, if I need to, I can put the trunnion and put the whole assembly in a vise or something along those lines to be able to go ahead and take it apart. But this way, at least I have the axle disconnected from the differential, and theoretically it should more or less come apart pretty easily as one piece once I remove this top bolt. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is get right on it and see if I can just get this guy removed. I thought that I had removed, or at least took some of it off, yeah. So let's go ahead and get cracking on this. Go. Alright, so now what's left is to remove the spring. We're getting close, guys. So these are all 9/16 bolts. I've hit them with penetrating oil. for the last couple of days, so I'm just going to use a big breaker bar. See if I can get them to come loose. Alright, oh, that's good. Try this next one. Alright. I've been kind of dreading these, thinking that they would probably be on here pretty good, but it's not bad. Whoops. Hit the camera. That one was not very good, but nothing for this old breaker bar. Okay. I think, what's that, 2 more? Oh, no, I got that one already. This is just this one. There we go. All right, cool. Let's get the impact out, and we'll just rip those off. Alright, so on to the last piece of the puzzle. So the rear differential, I've actually got my chair from the shop here underneath it with a floor jack, just to be an extra set of hands. Looks like we got 9/16 bolts here, which go into some mounts to stabilize it. And then we got a bolt in the back. The bolt in the back, I've heard, can be real bare. So I actually went ahead and hit it with penetrating oil a few days ago, and I was actually able to break it loose, surprisingly. So what I need to do is get this rear one broke loose first, remove it, and then I'll go ahead and remove these 2 bolts here.
Several days later.
Alright, well, I've got that rear bolt removed. Now, let's take these out. Alright, well, I think that's going to be it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Please don't drop. Yeah, so that's what I was afraid of. Alright. So the front has dropped, as I would expect. The rear still a bit hung up. Alright, so it appears my chair method is not going to work. Oh, there it is. Huh. I almost lost it. Got lucky. Let's see. Wheel. Now the frame should be light. Yep. That happened a lot faster than I figured it would. But gravity is quite the thing. Alright, well I was going to wrap it up there, but there's one last thing. Right here. that I think that we're going to get rid of. So as you know, Aria is getting a overdrive transmission. This is the transmission mount for the 3-rail transmission that was in there before. 4 bolts, so it's got to come out because we're going to be replacing it. So let's do it and hope that this isn't the toughest part of the entire thing. Yeah, that was easy. All right, there it is. One fully stripped frame. That was a long day and a half, but I'm happy to report that I don't see really any rot at all on this guy. I see a few areas of opportunity, but no rot. I'm really happy about that. The frame back here, sure, it's got a lot of surface rust on it, but again, there's no rot that I can see. And of course, when I take a wire wheel to it, that may tell a different story, but for the time being, I'm pretty satisfied. So the next stop on this frame's journey is going to be another good pressure wash. We gave it one already, but once we get that really good pressure wash done, we're going to go ahead and figure out if we're going to sandblast or wire wheel or do a combination of the both. I'm thinking probably a combination of the both, simply because, well, there's some nooks and crannies that you can't get with a sandblaster. There's a lot that you can get with a wire wheel, and I think that between the two, it'll be a good happy medium. So stick around. That's going to be the next phase of this Triumph's journey. Oh, that and I got all that to contend with. I have no idea where I'm going to put all those parts. A lot comes off this thing. All right, that's going to wrap up this video. If you like this kind of content, please make sure that you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe to make sure you get those notifications and that you see when I have new content uploaded. The next step on this project is going to be even more fun, getting this chassis all cleaned up. So this is me reminding you, that when working on project cars like this, make sure you always clean up your tools and your workbench, and most importantly, don't be that dreaded previous owner. Cheers!